She lied about my dad being broke, so my stepmom exposed her with bank receipts. I never planned to step into a mother's place. But I also didn't plan to watch a child get emotionally destroyed by the person who birthed her. Chloe saved every dollar she could for her dream first car. She worked hard. She believed in herself. And then, in one cruel sentence, her own mother shattered that hope. "Your father and his wife can't even afford to help you." She said it to break her, to make her doubt her dad, to make her feel small. But she didn't expect me to pull out bank receipts and end that lie forever. And now, she wants her daughter to cut me off because I ruined her image. This is the story of exposing a lie and the emotional war that followed. Let's begin. My name is Grace. I never wanted to be a hero stepmom. I wasn't trying to be anyone's replacement or savior. But life has a strange way of putting you in the exact moment where someone needs you. And you either step up or you let them break. And this story? It starts long before the lie, long before the dress shop, long before the tears. It starts with a girl, Chloe, and a dream. Chloe is 16. Not loud, not dramatic. Not spoiled like people assume teenagers are. Quiet, hardworking. Heart way too soft for this world. Her dream wasn't luxury vacations, makeup boys, or going viral like kids these days. No, she wanted something simple. A used car. Freedom. Independence. So she saved. She babysat on weekends. Walked dogs after school. Folded clothes at a thrift store. Picked up every extra shift she could. Every dollar carefully placed in a savings account. Every cent earned with pride. And my husband, her dad, and I made a promise. Whatever you save, we will match it. Not because we're rich. Honestly, we aren't. But because when someone works hard, you invest in them. You show them their effort matters. And Chloe? She believed us. Every week she would come home smiling, deposit slip in her hand like a trophy. "Look, Grace, I'm getting closer." And I would cheer every time, genuinely proud. Because watching a kid choose work over complaining, choose patience over shortcuts, choose effort over entitlement, that's rare, and it deserves to win. She didn't know it yet, but this car wasn't just transportation. It was proof. Proof she wasn't like her mother said. Proof she could build her own life. But that dream, as strong as it was about to be tested in the most painful way. And the person who hurt her was supposed to love her the most. Chloe had been talking about prom for months, not because she wanted to be the center of attention, but because she had never had a special moment like that before. Her mom, Sarah, promised to take her dress shopping. And even though Mark, my husband, had offered to go, Chloe said, "It's okay. Mom said she wants to make it special. Maybe we can finally, bond." I smiled, but inside, I knew better. Still, kids hope, even when adults disappoint them. So Saturday morning, she left with nervous excitement, clutching her little envelope of cash like it was gold. $150, her whole dress budget, earned, saved, deserved. 3 hours later, my phone buzzed. It was Chloe. Not excited. Not happy. Not even sad. Just quiet. That kind of quiet where you know someone held back tears for too long. "Grace, are you home?" Her voice was thin, wobbly. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm here." "Everything okay?" A shaky breath, then, "Can you please just open the door?" "I'm outside." She walked in slowly, eyes red, cheeks flushed, hands shaking slightly. I didn't push. I just waited, and then she broke. Not loud sobbing. Not dramatic crying. Just this painful, defeated whisper. She said, "You and Dad are broke. That you lied about helping me." She told the store lady I should get used to disappointment. My stomach dropped. I felt the burn rise in my chest. That defensive. Protective anger only love can create. But before I could speak, Chloe added something that shattered me. "Why would she say that unless it's true? Maybe I really am a burden to you." That was the moment. The moment my heart cracked, and something fierce took its place. I knelt in front of her, wiped her tears, and said, "Look at me. You are not a burden, and nobody gets to decide your worth." Her lip trembled. She picked a $400 dress and laughed when I couldn't pay for it. And then, the final blow, she said, maybe if your dad didn't waste money on his new wife, he could afford his kid. Silence. Not peaceful silence. The kind that fills your veins with fire. In that second, I made a silent promise. She will never question her value again. Not if I can stop it. I stood up slowly, calm, controlled, focused. Chloe, tomorrow. We fix this. No one gets to humiliate you. Not even your mother. And she looked at me with eyes that were still wet, but this time not from weakness. From hope. Small, fragile, rebuilding. Because one truth hit us both at the same time. Some parents give birth, other parents show up. The next morning felt different. Not dramatic. Not loud. Quiet. Focused. Purposeful. Chloe came downstairs wearing jeans and a hoodie. Eyes still puffy but trying to be brave. I'm okay, she whispered. You don't have to do anything. I don't want to cause trouble. I placed my hand on hers. Standing up for yourself isn't causing trouble. Being mistreated is. Her breath hitched a little, like no one had ever said that to her before. I grabbed my keys. Come on, we've got something to do. She didn't ask where. She just followed. We walked into the bank and Chloe looked confused. Grace, why are we here? I smiled softly. Proof. She blinked. Still confused, but trusting me enough not to question. We sat down with the clerk and I spoke calmly. We'd like to check this young lady's savings account and print the balance. The clerk smiled at Chloe like she mattered. And that alone made Chloe's chin wobble again. A few clicks later, the printer spat out the paper. The clerk handed it to Chloe and said, You've been working hard. This is impressive. Chloe looked down. $2,224. Her breath stopped. Her eyes widened. Not at the number, she already knew it. But because for the first time, someone acknowledged her work instead of belittling it. Then I leaned in toward the clerk and quietly said, I'd like to match her savings. Chloe's head whipped toward me. What, right now? I nodded. The clerk processed it. She printed a new balance sheet. Chloe stared at it like it didn't feel real. $4,024.18. Her hand shook holding the paper. Grace, I can buy a car someday. A real one. Not just dream about it. I looked her straight in the eye. You built that. Your effort. Your responsibility. Your future. I didn't give you anything. I matched you. Because you earned it. A single tear fell, but not from sadness. From relief. From pride. From finally feeling seen. And then she whispered the quietest words. The ones that punched me right in the heart. No one ever believed in me this much before. We drove straight to another boutique. Not flashy, not fancy, but real. The kind where the salespeople smile. Because they genuinely enjoy seeing someone happy. Chloe tried on a soft, shimmering pale rose gown. Nothing over the top, just elegant and breathtaking. She stepped out of the dressing room. And I swear, she didn't just look beautiful, she looked free. Like someone who finally saw herself as worthy. The saleslady gasped. You look like you walked out of a movie. Chloe laughed, really laughed, for the first time in days. I actually feel pretty. I squeeze her hand. You don't feel pretty today. You are pretty every day. Today you finally got to see it. We bought the dress. $180 within her budget. On her terms. As we buckled up, she held the receipt and bank statement like they were fragile little miracles. Grace, why would my mom say those things? Grace, why would my mom say those things? Why say you and Dad can't afford to help me? This is the moment you decide. Do you protect a child by softening the truth? Or protect her future by giving her clarity? I chose truth. Some people would rather tear others down than admit they failed to lift someone up. Your mother didn't want you to see who's really been supporting you. She took a slow breath, absorbing, understanding. Then she whispered, So she lied. Because she didn't want me to be grateful to you? Yes, but your life isn't hers to control. Her voice was steady when she answered. It's mine. And for the first time, she believed it. She folded the bank paper and tucked it into her pocket like armor. A new version of Chloe sat beside me now. Not broken. Rebuilding. Not doubting. Becoming. Not small. Strong. And she didn't even realize yet. This was only the beginning. We pulled into the driveway, still glowing from the day. Chloe had that folded bank slip in her hand like it was a trophy, but Mark was standing by the front door, jaw clenched, phone in his hand, face tight with frustration. Sarah called. My stomach sank. Let me guess, she's furious? He nodded. She showed up at Chloe's school. Said you stole her child and manipulated her. Before I could respond, the door behind him swung open, and there she was. Sarah, almost shaking with rage, still in heels like she'd come straight from a boutique battlefield. Lipstick perfect, but smile venomous. So, that's where you two disappeared to. Chloe shrank half a step behind me. But I moved, just enough to block. Sarah crossed her arms. Taking her to buy a dress? Taking her to the bank? What was that, a power play? I kept my voice calm. It was proof. She earned that money. We matched it. We kept our word. Sarah had scoffed. You humiliated me. You stole our moment. She's my daughter, not yours. Then she looked at Chloe. And you ran to them to make me look bad? Chloe froze, eyes watering but different this time. Not weakness. Hurt, turning into resolve. She held out the paper, her bank statement, hands trembling but not hiding. You told me they couldn't afford to help me. You made me feel stupid for believing in myself. Sarah's face faltered, just a flicker, and there it was. Fear. Guilt. Shame she refused to feel. I was protecting you. Chloe's voice cracked, not breaking, but rising. By lying? By making me feel like nothing? Even Mark stepped in now. Sarah, she saved for years. You belittled her work. Sarah spun toward him. Oh, please. You barely helped raise her. Now you want to look like the hero? Her voice went shrill, the kind that isn't anger, but panic dressed as superiority. I stepped forward. Calm, controlled. Nobody here wants a fight. Chloe deserved truth. That's it. Sarah snapped. You're trying to replace me. I looked her in the eyes, steady, low voice. If you truly believed you couldn't be replaced, you wouldn't be this scared. Silence. The kind you feel in your bones. Sarah turned to leave, then looked back at Chloe. You'll regret this. You'll see who really cares about you. Chloe didn't flinch. She unfolded the slip, held it out like proof of her own worth. I already do. And Sarah left. Door slammed. Mark let out a breath like he'd been holding it for a decade. Chloe sank into the sofa, hands still trembling. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I just wanted to feel proud. I sat beside her. You didn't hurt her? You stopped her from hurting you. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Small but powerful gesture. Is it always like this? When you stop letting someone control you? I brushed hair from her face. Most people don't get angry when you do wrong. They get angry when you stop letting them do wrong to you. She nodded slowly. Learning? Growing? Changing? Right in front of me. I don't want to lose her. I just don't want to lose myself either. You won't. Not anymore. And for the first time, I saw it. Not the scared girl from yesterday, but a young woman becoming someone who chooses herself. Even if it hurts. Even if someone else hates it. Even if family breaks in the process. Freedom comes with a price, and she had just paid the first installment. If I thought Sarah would cool down after storming out, I was painfully wrong. Sometimes when insecure people lose control, they don't reflect. They retaliate. The next morning, Chloe looked different. Not broken. Not scared. Steady. Ready. Growing into herself. She wore the prom dress shoes with jeans. Cute, confident, subtle flex energy. Hair tied back like she was armoring up. You sure you want to go today? I asked. She nodded. If I hide, she wins. I don't want to live like that. Proud doesn't even begin to describe what I felt. We hugged quick. Not dramatic. Like teammates. Like equals. But when she came home that afternoon, her eyes said it all before she spoke. Something had happened. She dropped her backpack and sighed. Mom went nuclear. My heart tightened. Chloe sat down like she'd been fighting all day. She told parents and teachers that you're trying to buy me away. She told kids I'm choosing my rich, fake stepmom over my family. I stayed quiet, letting her talk. Some girls said I betrayed my mother. Someone asked if I'm auditioning for a new family. Her laugh wasn't really a laugh. It was one of those brittle ones that break on the inside. And then one girl said, "Must be nice getting money thrown at you." I clenched my fists, not to fight, but to keep calm. Chloe looked at me, voice lower. I worked for every dollar. She knows that. Why would she spread that? I took a breath. Because lies are easier than accountability. And people who feel threatened don't fight fair. They fight dirty. She swallowed. And then, new emotion in her eyes. Not sadness. Not fear. Determination. I didn't shoot back. I didn't cry. I just walked. She paused. It hurt, but it didn't crush me. That line hit like thunder. Because pain that doesn't crush you, it builds you. Later that evening, she sat beside me again. Same living room. Same nervous energy, but a different girl. Grace? Was I wrong to expect honesty from her? I shook my head immediately. Wanting honesty isn't disrespect. Expecting love isn't betrayal. She nodded, exhaling slowly. Then she said the words I had been waiting to hear. The real beginning of maturity. I can love her, and still set boundaries. There it was. The moment a child becomes her own protector. The moment someone stops chasing validation and starts choosing self-respect. The moment she found her voice. Chloe looked at her bank slip again. Then the dress bag. Then at me. I'm glad I saw the truth. I'm glad you showed me. This wasn't about money. Wasn't about dresses. Wasn't even about mothers and stepmothers. It was about worth. About voice. About a girl finally saying, I deserve honesty. I deserve effort. I deserve to feel proud. She smiled, small but powerful. I'm not fragile anymore. I teared up secretly, but because that sentence, that was strength being born. But the story didn't end there. Because Sarah? She wasn't done. And what she did next was bigger, louder, and far more personal. A last-ditch explosion before losing control for good. And it came publicly, with witnesses, with consequences, and with Chloe finally speaking the truth out loud, in a way that shocked everyone. If you've ever seen someone cornered by their own lies, you know what comes next. They don't apologize. They attack. And Sarah? She attacked on the biggest stage she could find. 2 days later, Chloe had a junior advisory meeting at school. Parents were invited. Mark couldn't go because of work. So I went. I didn't plan to speak. I wasn't there to prove anything. Just support Chloe quietly, like a normal stepmom. But Sarah? She walked in like she owned the room. Full hair, loud heels, a smile too tight to be real. She spotted me, and her eyes sharpened like knives. You know that look someone gets when they're about to perform for an audience? Yeah, that look. Halfway through, during a discussion about student goals and support programs, a counselor praised Chloe. She's one of our most responsible students. Working, saving, planning her future. I smiled at Chloe. Sarah's jaw clenched. Then suddenly she stood up. Loud, dramatic. Like she was in a courtroom instead of a school cafeteria. Actually, my daughter is being manipulated. Everyone froze. Chloe's face turned pale. Sarah continued. She was pressured to open her bank account. My husband's wife is trying to buy her love and turn her against me. With money and gifts and fake kindness. The room went silent. Parents stared. Teachers blinked. And Chloe? Her hand shook under the table. That moment, my instinct was to speak. But before I could, Chloe stood up. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just spoke. Clearly, steady, brave. Mom, you lied about Dad and Grace not helping. You humiliated me. You made me feel stupid for saving. Sarah's face flushed bright red. I opened my bank account because it's my money. I earned it. I wanted to see it. And Grace didn't force me. She believed in me. Some parents whispered. Someone exhaled loudly. But Chloe wasn't done. I don't need to be bought. I need support. If you won't give it, I'll build my own life with people who actually show up. Boom. Time stopped. One mother literally put her hand over her mouth. Sarah sputtered. You're disrespecting me. Chloe shook her head slowly. Respect isn't owed. It's earned. And you stopped earning it when you tried to embarrass me for being independent. That line? Sarah stared at her. Then at me. Then back at Chloe. For the first time, she looked small. Not angry. Not powerful. Just exposed. She grabbed her purse, muttered something like, "This is ridiculous," and walked out. No applause. No cheers. Just the sound of truth settling in a room like cold air. Outside, Chloe leaned against the wall. Not shaking. Not crying. Just breathing deeply. I thought my voice would fail. I put a hand on her shoulder. Your voice didn't fail. You finally used it. She smiled, tired but proud. I didn't ruin her. She ruined herself. I wanted to hug her, but she didn't need saving anymore. She had saved herself. But here's the thing about people like Sarah. They don't crumble quietly. They regroup. They plot. They strike where it hurts most. And her next move wasn't just emotional. It was legal. She tried to challenge our car agreement and threatened custody changes over a prom dress and a bank statement. That's where this story takes a who. If guilt doesn't work, and threats don't work, a narcissist always has one last tool. Money, and Sarah decided to use it like a weapon. It happened on a Tuesday evening. Chloe was studying on the couch when her phone buzzed. I could see her face drop as she answered. Mom? We weren't eavesdropping. But Chloe didn't move. She just froze, listening. Then her voice changed, tight, hurt. No, I don't want your money. That's not... Mom, stop! His hands started shaking. She put the phone on speaker. And we heard it. Sarah, I will give you $10,000 for your car and pay for a full luxury prom package, dress, hair, makeup, everything if you move back here and stop talking to her. Her, meaning me. She wasn't buying Chloe a future. She was buying back control. Mark's jaw clenched so hard I heard his teeth grind. Chloe's voice cracked. I already have a car plan. I don't need your money for prom. Why do you think I care about that? And Sarah snapped like a whip. Because you're a child, and she manipulated you. You think she loves you? She just wants to replace me. You owe me loyalty, not her. It hit Chloe like a punch. She whispered, I don't owe you loyalty. I owe you honesty, and you never gave me truth. Silence. Then Sarah, cold, venomous. Fine, choose her and be nobody. Don't come back begging when she gets tired of you. Chloe hung up. Slowly, quietly. Then she broke. She sobbed so hard she folded into herself. I'm not a trophy. I'm not something to fight over. We held her, not saying she was wrong, not promising it would be easy. Just being there. Because sometimes presence is louder than words. After a while, she whispered, She doesn't want me. She wants to win. That was her breaking point. And her awakening. The next morning, Chloe sent her mom one final message. I'm not choosing a side. I'm choosing peace. And until you can talk to me without bribing, punishing, or controlling me, I need space. She blocked her number. Not forever. Just until she healed enough to face her mother without fear. Mark hugged her like he never wanted to let go. I didn't cry. I held it together. Until later. Because watching a child realize their parent values power more than love? It destroys something inside you, too. That evening, Chloe quietly said, Can we start looking at cars? The one I earn? The one that's really mine? Not a bribe. Not a power play. A step toward independence. I smiled through tears. Yes, we can. She wasn't running from her mother anymore. She was walking toward herself. And that is a kind of victory most adults never achieve. But just when life started calming down, Sarah didn't accept defeat. She showed up at the prom venue uninvited. And what happened there? It blew everything open. Again. The night of the prom arrived. The air was electric with excitement, glittering dresses and the hum of music. Chloe had chosen her dress herself. Elegant, confident, unapologetically hers. Mark and I stood behind her, proud and protective, as she stepped into the limo. But just as the car pulled away, a familiar voice shouted across the parking lot. Chloe! We froze. It was Sarah. She had shown up. Uninvited, like a storm. She wore the same cold, calculating smile, the one Chloe had learned to see through. But this time Chloe didn't flinch. "Mom, you're not invited," Chloe said firmly, stepping out of the limo. "Excuse me?" Sarah's voice was sharp, demanding. "I said, you're not invited," Chloe repeated. Her voice was steady, calm. "You don't get to control my life. You don't get to bribe me. You don't get to scare me. I'm done being part of your games." Mark and I stood behind her like a wall, but we didn't speak. Chloe didn't need us to. She had finally found her own voice. Sarah's face twisted in anger and disbelief. "You'll regret this," she spat. "You think you can live without me?" Chloe smiled, not smug, but free. "I'm not living without you. I'm living for me. And that's something you'll never understand." The limo doors closed behind Chloe and her friends. Inside, laughter, music, and joy replaced tension and fear. For the first time, Chloe felt fully in control. Her choices, her achievements, her life, all hers. The car, the prom, the independence she had fought for, none of it was a gift from someone else. She had earned it. Even when Sarah's shadow loomed outside, Chloe didn't waver. She realized that power, love, and respect couldn't be bought. They had to be lived. And tonight, she finally lived on her own terms. Weeks later, Chloe drove her car herself for the first time. Blasting music, windows down, wind in her hair, she smiled at me and Mark in the rearview mirror. "See, this is mine. I earned it. I'm not running anymore." And in that moment, everything shifted. Sarah's manipulation, guilt, and bribery had failed. Chloe had not only survived, she had grown. Stronger, wiser, and unshakable. She wasn't just a teenager standing up to her mother. She was a young woman who had discovered her own power. And that truly was victory. Some battles aren't about winning against someone else, they're about reclaiming yourself. And Chloe did just that.